Question 1. What are the various ways in which you can become an American citizen? What role does the U.S. Constitution play in this determination? And how has the federal government interpreted birthright citizenship over the years? There are many ways to become a U.S. citizen. They include citizenship by birth in the U.S., through naturalization, through acquisition, and through derivation. According to the guide, what are the benefits and responsibilities of citizenship? It says, when you decide to become a U.S. citizen, you should be willing to fulfill the responsibilities of citizenship, meaning that people should be able to honor and respect the freedoms and opportunities citizenship gives you. The U.S. Constitution plays an important role in this determination. As stated in Section 1 of the 14th Amendment, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the states wherein they reside in. This established citizens' rights when becoming or already a U.S. citizen. Under the federal law, nearly all people born in the United States are citizens at birth. This is known as birthright citizenship. The federal government had challenged the birthright citizenship in the U.S. Supreme Court and had lost. All the arguments made by the government against birthright citizenship were rejected by the court. Question 2. List or identify the various 4 to 6 types of work visas that are available in the U.S. and briefly explain each one. What, if any, themes did you notice? What about work visas for those who are here illegally? Is there an option? The various types of work visas available in the U.S. include temporary non-immigrant visas, permanent immigrant workers, student and exchange visitors, as well as temporary visit for business. Temporary non-immigrant visas are for people looking to work in the United States for a fixed period of time. The most common types of non-immigrant work visas are H, I, L, O, P, and R visas. Permanent worker visas enable foreign nationals to work and live permanently in the United States. According to the website, the different types of U.S. work visas, it says permanent residence in the United States can be obtained through the right combination of education, expertise, eligibility, and skill set. Student and exchange visitors cover the 3 types of students: academic, vocational, and those enrolled in educational or cultural exchange programs. The temporary visit for business visas are to conduct activities for business purposes. Based on the site for New York Immigration and Law Center, it states that millions of others have already entered the United States without a visa or legal documentation and are already living and working here as part of the underground economy. This means that the work visa is not applicable to those who are here illegally unless they speak with a U.S. immigration attorney.
Question 3. The naturalization fee to become a U.S. citizen totals to around $725 US, around $640 if you're 75 years or older, and $0 if you're an active military member. This cost does not include travel costs or other external fees. The cost for application process is about $640 for the application process and then $85 for biometric services, creating the total to be around $725 US. There are ways to get fee reductions and waivers to lower the cost. In addition to the naturalization fee, you must have a medical exam before becoming a citizen, which totals to around $129. And you also have legal fees, which can cost anywhere between $500 and $1,500. One can decide to become a U.S. citizen, but not without the immigration process. And the immigration process in the U.S. is time-consuming and expensive. You can become a U.S. citizen if a family member, spouse, or boss sponsors you, or you can apply for a green card. With those options, you do have to submit paperwork, and sometimes the process can take up to 1 year to be completed, and that's if you don't have any obstacles like missing paperwork or other files. There's also a limit to the number of family-based immigration, and it is also limited to the relationship status that you have to the person trying to sponsor you. And it can also take longer for a family member to sponsor you if you guys can't afford legal help. Most immigrants do not meet the eligibility or have the connections to migrate using a green card or being sponsored by a family member or boss. In addition, the demand for family members and workers who want to immigrate to the United States is typically higher than the number of slots allotted. There's a maximum number of employment-based sponsorship and family-based sponsorship each year. People from countries with high levels of immigration like Mexico, China, and the Philippines generally have the longest wait times for immigrant visas. These citizens can wait anywhere between 19 and 24 years, which has increased our number in America of illegal immigration because everybody says to do it the right way, but the right way is very time consuming and expensive, creating a higher number of illegal immigration. Question 4. In the United States, you must be 18 years of age by the time of filing an I-30 form to sponsor an immigrant into the United States. You must also be a permanent resident of the United States or a U.S. citizen, or have your domicile in the United States or one of its territories. You must also meet the financial requirements to sponsor someone into the United States, which is having an income level 125% above the poverty level, and have an advent of the support form filled out. The first step to family-based immigration in the United States is to file an I-30 petition with U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Processing for this form can take anywhere from 5 to 19 months, depending on your family relationship to the sponsor and at what time you submit the form. If you are a parent or a spouse, then it can usually take anywhere from 5 to 19 months. But if you are a sibling or an extended family member, it can take anywhere from 13 months to 20 years to process a visa.
According to an article published by Ford Murray Law Firm, if a company were to hire an undocumented person, they could find faces ranging from $375 to $3,200 per illegal worker. If someone were to get fined once and continue to hire undocumented people, the fines they would be forced to pay would increase. The second time, it could range between $3,200 to $6,500 per person, while the third offense would be between $4,300 to $16,000 per person again. If the company were to knowingly hire undocumented immigrants consistently, not only would they have to pay fines starting at $3,000 per unauthorized immigrant worker, but they could serve up to 6 months in jail. And based on data collected from the Pew Research Center, 2 industries that have been negatively affected by these penalizations are the agriculture industry and the construction industry. So according to the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, SpeedFab Crate, a Texas-based construction company, agreed to pay $3 million to the United States Treasury for hiring illegal immigrants to work on their construction sites across the state of Texas. And in 2019, the U.S. government filed a lawsuit against Vilhar Enterprise for almost $2 million for continuing to hire illegal immigrants even after they had been found out. And this is based on an article reported by the Dallas Morning News, and it is still developing, and they have not yet decided on a amount that must be paid by the company. And then for question 6, according to an article written by John Burnett in NPR published in January 2020, about 11 billion has been requested to continue construction for the wall between the United States and Mexico. One proposal from the Department of Homeland Security asked the Defense Department of the United States to come up with the money to supply around 270 miles of the border wall. This wouldn't finish it, but it would get some of it. And then, according to a text to an article published by the Texas Tribune, the money to support further construction would be located from construction contract changes where Congress increases the amount of money construction firms must pay for, and sometimes the construction firms are aware of the changes and sometimes Congress does not tell them this. But there was not one specific bill that's been proposed and gone through that is saying exactly where the money to build the wall is going to come from. So I could not find one. So these are all just proposals, and they vary based on the news article or the news source that they come from. So not one says a specific bill.
My name is Alex Merritt. I had numbers 7 and 8. I'm just going to go ahead and do all the questions and the answers. So the first question of number 7 was, what are the qualifications that one must meet to qualify for DACA? And you have to be under the age of 31 as of June 15th of 2012. You had to come to the U.S. while under the age of 16, or you had to continuously reside in the U.S. from June 15th, 2007 to the present, and for purposes of calculating the 5-year period, absences from the U.S. for humanitarian reasons will not be included. Entered the U.S. without inspection or fell out of lawful visa status before June 15, 2012, are physically present in the United States on June 15, 2012, and at the time of making the request for consideration of deferred action with the USCIS, are currently in school or have graduated high school, have obtained a GED, or have been honorably discharged from the Coast Guard or Armed Forces, have not been convicted of a felony offense, a significant misdemeanor, or more than 3 misdemeanors of any kind, and do not pose a threat to national security or public safety. So the next question was, what are some challenges and benefits of the program? So a challenge is threats to the DACA program have heightened concerns about immigration enforcement among DACA recipients. So 34% have been reported having daily concerns being detained in an immigration detention facility, while 77% of DACA recipients reported having daily concerns about being separated from their children, which obviously is not ideal. When coming to the U.S., they want to stick with their families. And then Dreamers have not only received a better educational opportunity, and this is a benefit, but cast a wider net in the workforce. This heightens jobs and encourages professional growth. So they took a survey in 2017, and they found that after receiving DACA benefits, 50% of respondents got their first job. So that's a pretty good increase in employment rates and for undocumented people. And then some of the most recent challenges / developments is if you currently have DACA and your work authorization has not expired, your DACA and EAD are still in effect, and you are eligible to request renewal if the time comes. But if you have applied for advanced parole, it will be processed, and if you have been granted advanced parole, it will still be respected. However, we recommend I apologize, that you consult with an immigration attorney or a DOJ before traveling abroad. Another one is if your DACA has expired under a year, the USCIS will still process your renewal request as a renewal. However, if your DACA expired over a year ago, you may still file for it. It will be considered initial or new, and the USCIS will accept it, and it may not process under the Texas court order, which obviously that is a big challenge if you are trying to get that problem solved.
The U.S. Border Patrol is experiencing a 2,700 agent shortage. Due to this, they're requiring officers to pull double shifts and even pulling officers from different agencies. Over the past 25 years, commerce crossing the borders has tripled, and this requires officers to be stretched thin. They're also having to patrol greater areas because of the lack of officers. At the Santa Teresa port of entry alone, officers were ordered to work double shifts, and they're even pulling officers from the K-9 units. Due to lack of staffing, they're having to shut down multiple lanes of entry. Just this branch is understaffed by 10 to 15 agents. The House is proposing a bill to provide $151 million for 1,846 new Border Patrol positions.